but they'll run out of time. Desperate smother. The footy gods have done it again. David Noble, on his 54th birthday, a Tasmanian back in his old home state, and the drought is broken. North, their first victory of 2021.
Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we're starting a new little series where we do 10 to 15 minutes on reviewing every single team based on ladder order from the 2021 season. So welcome, Liam. And today we are starting with the Shambles in North Melbourne.
Yeah, you can say the first half of the season for them was definitely shambles. We also knew coming into this year that North Melbourne, they were going to be nowhere near finals beyond bottom four. People had them as the Spooners, and also they are the Spooners this year. Finished 4 wins, 7 losses, and the 1 draw. After they won 1 game before the bye, and then their last 3 afterwards. And the draw with the GWS. So was it probably a lot of doom and gloom, but there was some promising signs that we saw in some of the young guns like Davis Uniac. We saw Zerha. We saw who else do we see? Jai Simpkin, Nick Larkey. We saw a lot of those players coming through, and they're going to be big for them in the future. So just in terms of if North can keep them around, it's just a long few years for North fans, you'd think. A few more years of this.
So I'll just touch over their wins now. So as you said, they only had 1 before the bye. They started 0-8. Round 9, they travelled down to Launceston and had a little bit of a comeback win from memory over the Hawks. It was about a 22-point halftime deficit down in Launceston, and came back to win by 7 points. So that was almost the turning point in the season. We knew they were going to win a game eventually. It's almost impossible to go without winning a game. So that was pretty much the turning point in their season. Obviously, the week after, they got demolished by Essendon by 72 points. But the bye came and they sort of switched on after that. So straight after the bye, round 13, they had a draw with GWS. Realistically, they should have won that, in my opinion. Fair to say they choked.
They did.
They were up 28 points at 3/4 time. So not the best outcome, but moving on, they then waited till round 15 for their second win and defeated Gold Coast, which I can see it. And then round 17, you and I had this as their best win for the season. They travelled to Perth. West Coast were in a bit of a rough spot. I can't remember if this was before or after their Sydney loss, but they needed to win this, West Coast. And North went there and had other plans, and they were up. Well, they actually weren't up until 3/4 time, 41-30, and then a big last scoring quarter. And North took the win by 10 points in a very rough, wet Perth game.
Yeah, it was. I think that was on the Monday night too, so
it was.
Had to wait all weekend.
And the final game that they won was round 19 against the Carlton Blues by 39 points, almost saying, the Blues aren't really going to make finals at that point after that game. So big boost for North as well. So we touched on our best win, in our opinion, for North Melbourne, which was the West Coast game. What was your worst loss?
It was really a no-brainer when it came to this one. This was probably the point where everyone was like, it's going to be rough for North Melbourne. I came in round 3. It was Good Friday. The Dogs pummeled them by 128 points. Where Josh Bridge kicked 10 on them. That's when everyone probably just saw it's going to be a long trip from North back to the top 8. And yeah, this wasn't a great sight for Roos fans. I think the Dog kicked about 10 goals in the last. Yeah, they had 17 scoring shots in the last quarter. So yeah, everyone knew that North were in a bit of spot of bother. So that's probably the worst loss all year for any team. I don't think anyone lost by a big of a margin.
It's the biggest margin all year. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone came near it. So yeah, had to be the darkest day for North fans this year.
100%.
Yeah.
Now a bit of a rough one. It's going to be harder as the teams go on. Best and fairest. So I'll get you to name your top 3 going 3, 2, 1. 1 being the best. So go ahead.
For my third place, I'm going to go with Aaron Hall. He was very consistent. He averaged 27 touches, I believe, off half back, and played in the midfield. He provided that great run for North all year. And so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's up there. Number 2, I got Jack Zebel. He averaged 25 touches and I believe about 20 kicks a game, and he shifted down back for North this year, and he was very solid down there. He kept all very organized down there. And coming out on top, I believe this bloke, he's gonna be a great player in a few years to come. It's Jai Simpkin. He had a great year, averaged a high 20 touches, and he was just a very consistent player through North's mid. He kicked a few goals every now and then. So I think that's what who will get the chockies for North's best and fairest this year.
23 years old, that kid. Got a bright future ahead of him. Sure. In third place, I would have had Cunnington, but I don't think he played enough games. I think he only played the 14 from memory.
Yeah, he had a couple of setbacks throughout the year.
Personally, that's probably not enough to poll top 3 in the best and fairest. So I had him in there, but given he didn't play enough, I'll go Aaron Hall. And then I've switched Simpkin and Zebel. So Simpkin at 2 and Zebel at 1. And Zebel's been a very, very good servant of the club for the last 10 odd years.
Yeah.
30 years old. He's coming to the end of his career, and he's been a very, very loyal player.
For sure. Next up is probably the most surprising player, like the player who had a standout season or who didn't live quite up to the expectations. So who did you go for as the most surprising player?
I went with Luke Davies-Uniacke, LDU. And he had career highs in practically everything. So he just knocked up 50 games. Was it last game of the year? I think from memory. Either that or a couple of weeks before that. I'll read you this out. He got his career high in disposals, kicks, handballs, marks, not goals, but tackles, clearances, goal assists, inside 50s, rebound 50s, and fantasy points.
Jeez.
So, yeah,
bright future.
He had a very good year, and he is certainly going to be one to look out for in a few years, in my opinion.
For sure. For mine, I went with Nick Larkey down forward. He was probably their main priority target going forward. The 42 goals this year for North, and yeah, he had a few big games. Kicked 7, I believe, against Carlton in that win. He kicked a couple other bags of 4 throughout the year. So for me, that was probably very surprising. I would never have picked him to kick 40 goals or picked him to kick about 20. So a big target going forward for North, down forward, should I say. And hopefully he sticks with North and you have a big future ahead of him.
Very good. Now, what do North need to do? We know next year they're not going to be great again. But what do you want to see out of them from this upcoming 3-4 month period of off season?
First of all, draft Jason Horn. That's probably the first thing on the mind. They've locked in the number 1 pick That's who's going to be the number one pick in my eyes. There's no one even comparing to him. So they first got to lock him in for me. And then second of all, I think they've got to look for trades of players who wanting to come home to Victoria, as we heard. And Chera has wanted to come home from Freo. He's linked to Carlton, but you never know, North might snag him in somewhere. But you probably look for trades for young guns. Just try and get their list and then try and develop them. Then 3-4 years down the track, when they've all developed, produce them into something big. So I think there's probably just looking for young guns at this rate. Is probably what North are going for. So
I'm much in the same boat. I agree. Hit the draft hard, improve the young blokes. Something just popped into my head in terms of Ben Cunnington's future. Do you think he could see an alleyway out of North Melbourne? He's been a good servant for 11 years, 12 years actually. Do you think he could see he could ask for a trade and North could potentially get something young or another draft pick in return for an aging Cunnington who can help a premiership contending side?
I don't think he might request a trade, but I wouldn't be surprised if North put him up in a trade to get either draft picks or younger players. I wouldn't be surprised if they chucked him in a package, but I don't think he'll want to see a way out. I think he'll probably want to stick as a one club player. So I don't think it was a him requested trade, but I wouldn't be surprised if I see him traded away for the benefits of North's future and getting in more draft picks or younger players. So, yeah.
He's played 227 games for the club. So he's been a very good servant. Not many people these days are one club men anymore, particularly the younger blokes. But guess we'll wait and see. Yeah. So predictions for 2022 in terms of the ladder, and you could probably give me a big call if you really wanted or had something on the spot. Where do you reckon North will finish in season 2022?
I don't see them rising that far. I think they're going to still finish between the 18th to 16th range. I don't see them jumping up any much further for the next couple of years at least. So yeah, I think anywhere from 18th to 16th is probably their range. Where do you think that'll finish up?
I'm gonna agree with you 100%. Split in the middle. They're gonna finish 17th. Yeah, I can see them beating teams on their day.
Yeah,
like the way they finished this season.
Yeah,
if they found some consistency next year, I could easily see them finishing between 13th and 16th. But based off the second half of this year, I'd say probably 17th.
Yeah.
Now, if this was a test, North Melbourne Football Club, not as a club, as a season, what would be the grade that you would write on the front of the test?
I'm gonna give them a C+. They exceeded expectations, but again, they didn't quite. They're still so. Yeah, C+ for me. They showed signs, but still find that consistency, as you just said. So yeah, I'll stick with the C+ for their season. What are you gonna go with?
I went with a B-, particularly because of the second half of the season. So if I was going off the first half of the season, it would probably be a D. But the second half of the season was probably honestly a B+. So got it compared to what the expectations were. That's sort of what this is based around. So I put it at a B- overall. I can see them probably getting that up to a B next year if they can string a couple games back-to-back wins. Not too sure for next year for North Melbourne. Yeah, not the brightest future, as have some of the clubs that will be coming up in the next few videos.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else to add about the North Melbourne Kangaroos Football Club?
Just be patient, North fans. Just be patient. It will come. It will come.
In 2082.
Oh.
All right. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you on Wednesday evening for the review of the Collingwood Football Club, which will be a lot more negative than this one, I would presume.
Yes.
Thank you all for watching. See you later.
They are.